The world has ended, and I awaken. The end of world or the beginning. The sea. The vast ocean lies before me. I was standing atop the lighthouse balcony. The gentle, cool sea breeze plays on my cheeks like the soft nuzzling of a newborn kitten. Upon opening my eyes, I found myself in this place. All I remembered was that I had no recollections whatsoever of anything before. There was nothing that told me how I had ended up here or why. Where am I? I looked around. The sound of the ocean waves coming and receding reached my ears. The salty smell reached my nose. Then there were feathers, glittering and fluttering as they rained down from the heavens above. As they fell through the azure sky, so beautiful and so perfect, it appeared artificial. Those feathers of his, as white and cold as freshly fallen snow that swayed to and fro. It felt like a sight I had seen millions of times before. What was that? Right. How could I have forgotten? I came at someone else's wishes, someone else's wish, and the bell was what beckoned me. That's right. Unlike most humans, I didn't retain memories. Along with everything else that comprised my self-identity. It wasn't that they slipped from my mind by pure accident. I simply had no innate desire to remember. I lacked this crucial function which allowed humans to maintain their self-image and identity from day to day. It all made sense to me. I didn't forget my experiences per se. I simply couldn't remember them. Oh, right. I need to get going. Ding dong. The clock continued to peal inside my head. It was beckoning me. I thus climbed down from the lighthouse and ventured into town. The sound. It was growing louder in my head, as if telling me that I was getting closer. I kept on. There were no sounds to be heard. There were no people to be seen. It was a tranquil town that was gradually being covered in the white feathers which fell from the sky. Just a little further, like an insect flying aimlessly through the humid summer air, I staggered toward the source of the noise, as it invited me closer without a clear picture of what I was searching for. The journey was fraught with unease.
驚いたな。
All of a sudden, a voice called out from behind me. I turned around.
お前はこんなところで何をしてるんだ？
The feathers continued to fall, glittering and fluttering. Within their bright, mystical veil was a lone girl, and I could sense a deep pain in her eyes as she stared at me.
本当に驚いた。
She remarked in astonishment, her mouth agape. Yeah, I can't either. He's no longer translucent, guys. Her surprise was such that you'd think she'd never seen another human before in her life.
まだこの町に、お前みたいな子供が残っていたなんて。
The sound.
なんだって？
That sound is gone. The toll of the bell, which was leading me to where I needed to go, had noticeably stopped. It's quiet.
そうだな。お前の言う通りだ。
He heaves a listless sigh.
この町は静かだ。嫌になるくらい。
He smiled, although I got the impression that she had misunderstood what I was referring to.
この羽が。そう。この羽が、私の大切な人たちを食べ散らかしていくたびに、この町の静かさは増していくんだ。じわり、じわりとね。そうして見ての通り、誰もいなくなってしまった。無音だよ。無音。静かすぎて、逆に耳が痛くなってくるくらいだ。
She scoffed at herself, but I didn't know what to say in response.
大人たちは一人残さず連れ去られ、そして世界にたった一人残された子供たちは行き場をなくして、ただ戸惑い、さまようばかりだ。ともかく、初めて見る顔だな、君は。この町の子か？
I shook my head from side to side. I don't think so.
そうか。思うか。
That's rather odd, she noted with a smile.
それなら、どこか別の町から避難してきたってことか？
All I could do was shrug. I couldn't understand what she was asking whatsoever. Clean? From where? And from what?
もう、どの町にも生き残りはいないと聞いてたんだが。
I don't know.
わからない？
I shook my head. I don't know anything about myself. I wasn't even sure that I had a purpose in being here. All I remembered was waking up on the lighthouse balcony. I had no recollection of anything that happened before that. That was the most pressing question at the moment, and I'd yet to solve it. Actually, on second thought, it wasn't so much that I couldn't solve it. I never even cared to from the offset. Even though it should have concerned me, I felt no drive or desire to try and remember anything whatsoever. And yet, if that sound comes back, I feel like I'll understand everything. That bell, which was beckoning me from some place far, far away.
なるほど。音が戻れば。
The girl nodded profoundly before looking around the shopping district of this silent town, covered in white feathers.
確かに、この町は静かすぎるよな。昔のような音が戻ればって、私も思うよ。賑やかだったあの頃みたいな騒々しさが。気に入った。
Huh?
お前がどこの誰で、一体これまでどこに隠れていたのかは知らないけれど。なんだかお前は面白い子だ。うん。気に入ったよ。
She then offered me her hand.
どうだ？もしも行くところがないのなら、一緒に来ないか？ 私の仲間たちのところへ。
Your friends?
ああ。残された私たちは協力していかなきゃいけないんだ。生きていくためには。
To live.
ああ、そうだよ。こんなところに一人でいたって寂しいだろ？みんなお前を歓迎すると思うよ。
I stared at the pale hand that she outstretched toward me.
嫌か？
I shook my head. I'll go. I then took her hand. I'll go with you.
了解。それじゃあ早速行こうか。もうみんな待ってるだろう。
I let the girl lead me away by the hand. It was like I was chasing after that white robe of hers.
まずは、そうだな。自己紹介から始めようか。私はシンク。二階堂シンク。この町の、この世界の最後の生き残りの一人だ。よろしくな。
I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but for some reason, that white coat of hers looked so painfully familiar. Tinku. I muttered her name under my breath.
Huh?
He turned around.
なんだ？
Tinku.
ああ、
Nikaido Shinku.
ちゃんと聞いてるって。なんだかくすぐったいな。
He giggled. It was a strange feeling, being able to call someone by their name and hear them verbally respond. In fact, words can't describe how happy I felt. Eventually, we arrived at a school in the middle of town. After walking around the eerily silent hallways, not meeting a single soul along the way, we entered a classroom.
今日は授業を始める前に、みんなに新しい仲間を紹介しようと思う。
Tinku had me stand in front of the blackboard, while the half a dozen or so children in their seats eyed me curiously. To be honest, I felt a tad awkward.
急なことで悪いんだが、この子はここに来る前に商店街で会った子で、名前は、なんて言ったかな？
My name? My name. The girl in the seat closest to the front suddenly thrust her hand into the air.
先生、質問が。
Tinku smiled kindly at the girl.
なんだ？短く頼むぞ。
The girl nodded vigorously, then stood up. After looking at me, she beamed.
ひょっとして、その人は私の未来の素敵な旦那様ですか？
Time itself seems to freeze. Your future husband?
ああ、なんていうかさ。
After swallowing awkwardly, she clarified.
あの子の言うことはあまり気にしなくていい。
I shouldn't?
真剣に受け止める必要はないってことだ。
ひどいよ先生。それってどういうこと？
The girl puffed out her cheeks indignantly, hand still in the air. She definitely struck me as someone with a lot of energy. Cheerful, friendly, and cute. The kind of girl who could make people naturally smile just by being around them. That, to me, seemed like her talent.
どうしようか。この際、ちょっと順序が逆さまかもしれないけれど、まず先にこの子たちの紹介から済ませてしまおうか。
Them?
そう。私の可愛い教え子たちであり、今では大切な家族で仲間だ。
Emily.
今手を挙げた子はカナという。
Inku pointed toward her as she spoke.
カナ、南カナ。
よろしくお願いしますね。
The girl gave me a tiny nod as she waved her hand exaggeratedly at me.
カナは少しだけ常識というか、普通の尺度が他とはずれちゃってるところもあるけど、そこのところはあまり気にしないでやってほしい。
She has a few screws loose.
そう。ただちょっと人より惚れた腫れたの話が好きなだけなんだ。夢は素敵なお嫁さん。可愛いだろ？変なやつだけど、でも悪いやつじゃないから。
先生、ひどいよ。変なやつって。
Anna once again puffed up her cheeks indignantly. Inku merely laughed and apologized, shrugging her shoulders awkwardly.
次はカナの後ろの席の子だ。彼女は如月美代という。
どうも。
A girl with black hair. She was fairly cute too, like Kana, although she seemed much more mature.
そしてその後ろが歩む。一ノ瀬歩だ。
Yeah, that's when it gets weird, because the first two, they're fine, right? They're in Kazatsugahama. They've always been there, I guess, even though, you know, Kana's are out of town, but still, Ayumu, he's a cat, so, you know. The two of them nodded politely.
以上3名が私の生徒だ。
昨日までは4人だったけど。
Wait. No. I got it mixed up. Ayumu, this is before, whatever, before the things that happened, right? You know, Kana, you know, Kana's still here, so this is before Ayumu became Cat Ayumu and died.
そして、先週までは5人でしたね。
Hmm? What were they talking about? The air suddenly grew very heavy.
何はともあれそういうわけで、以上が私の仲間だ。どちらも仲良くしてほしい。
The three of them gave a unified, affirmative response. Perhaps that heaviness in the air just a second ago was merely my imagination. It all began when the girl named Kisaragi Mio mentioned that there had been 4 of them. However, Shinku kept talking, showing no signs of being affected by it.
お前はそうだな。その席に座ってくれるかな。
I walked to the empty seat next to the strange girl and sat down. Friends, students, survivors. There were 4 children here. Yesterday, the week before. 5. At the time, I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
隣同士、これからよろしくお願いしますね。
The girl who had been introduced as Minami Kana shuffled her desk up next to mine with a bashful smile. Huh? I stared at her dubiously, unsure of why she felt the need to close the distance between us.
私たちこれからきっととても仲良くなれますよね。
Friends?
はい。
She smiled sweetly.
だって私たち
She began to fidget her cheeks, flushed red.
将来結ばれる運命ですよね。きっ
The red string of fate?
と。はい。私の好きな漫画に出てきていたみたいに、いろいろなところがちょっと口に出すには恥ずかしいような感じで。
Sorry to burst your bubble, Kana, but I like Shinku. Okay. Sensei? I put my hand up just as Kana had done prior.
何かな、新入生くん。
I don't feel safe sitting here.
そうか。早速友達ができたみたいでよかったな。人気者じゃないか。
He's not making friends, he's making stalkers. Her answer failed to reassure me.
私、あなたを一目見て思ったんです。
Knew what?
一目惚れです。ビビビッときたんです。死後だろうとなんだろうと関係ないんだよってくらいに。だから私たちはきっと。
She placed her hands on her chest, her eyelashes fluttering, and her eyes sparkling.
きっと誰もが羨むくらい仲良しな恋人同士になれちゃう運命なんだって。神様が、運命の赤い糸の神様が私たちをこうして引き合わせてくれたんだなってそう思うと。
Okay.
なんだかとっても夢見てしまいたい気持ちになるんです私。
What's your point?
リアルおままごとです。
She cocked her head and smiled. I don't know what you're talking about. I shook my head. Quite frankly, I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to understand her. It was like our brains were on 2 completely separate wavelengths.
それなら
The girl took my hand and squeezed it. What are you doing?
帰りに市役所寄ってきます？
I had no words.
バカじゃないの？
Kisaragi Mio's peevish remark resounded from behind us.
バカって何ですかバカって。バカっていう方がかわいそうな子なんですよ。先生が言ってたみたいに、あまりこの子の言うことを相手にしなくてもいいよ。
Huh?
お勉強そっちのけで、いつも恋愛漫画とかばかり読んでるような子だから。きっと頭の中がピンク色なんだよ。
Really?
そうなんだよ。
The girl smiled, replacing the grumpy look that had been stuck on her face from the moment I arrived. For some reason, I found her smile very comforting. Kana put a finger on her jaw, then said,
私が奥さん、そしてあなたが愛しの旦那様。
I am?
そうです。そして愛し合う新婚夫婦には口うるさいコジュットがいつもそばで目尻に小じわを蓄えて。ちょっと、誰がコジュットよ。愛し合う二人には障害がつきものなんです。多かれ少なかれそういうものなんです。本人たちが望もうと望むまいと。でも、あまり障害が大きいとめげてしまいそうです。お手柔らかにお願いします。ゆとりある時間が必要なんです、私たちには。何よそれ。私がその障害だって言いたいの
I watched in confusion as the two girls began to bicker. That was when I felt something. The gaze was piercing me with a knife through the back of my neck. Sensei? I raised my hand again.
どうした？
Someone's staring at the back of my head like they want to kill me. I didn't think my statement was misrepresentative of what I felt in the air.
そうか。本当にもう随分と仲良くなったんだな。思ったより順応力が高いじゃないか、君は。
I didn't quite agree with her assessment.
ともかく、以上がこれから生活を共にする仲間だ。全員の顔と名前はもう覚えてくれたかな？
We'll be living together?
そう。お前も行くところがないんだろ？だからあんなところを一人で歩いていたんだ。お前も私たちと同じで一人っきりで家族がいない。違うかな？
Emily.
お父さん、お母さん、お前を守ってくれていた優しい人。そういった人たちだ。私たちは同類なんだ。似た者同士。みんな一人だ。だから、残された私たちは力を合わせて生きていかなくちゃいけない。一人でも多い方がいいんだよ。こういうのはさ。うん。それでは今日の授業を始めようか。たとえ世界が終わってしまうからといって高学心を置いてきぼりにはできない。人間いつだって少し上に挑戦し続けていかないと生きてるってことをついつい忘れがちになってしまうものだから。
Miku stuffed one hand into her lab coat pocket, and she turned to the blackboard with a piece of chalk in the other. Then she froze, her hand hovering in the air.
先生？どうしたの？
うん。そういえば。
She turns back around, then pointed her chalk at me and spoke.
まだお前の名前を聞いていなかったな。こちらが一方的に自己紹介を済ませただけだ。
My name?
そう。名前だ。あるだろ？お父さんとお母さんからもらった大切な名前がさ。そしてこれまでどこに住んでいたどこの誰なのか。そういった紹介をしてくれれば非常に嬉しいんだ。私たちとしては。
I considered her proposal. My name. I was pretty sure that I knew what a name was. Although I felt as though the life I was living right now wasn't quite my own, there was one word that immediately came to mind. Yuma.
Huh?
My name is Yuma. I thought it was, at least. If my instincts telling me as such were to be believed. Hanaue Yuma. That's my name. Everyone in the room stared at me wide-eyed. And for some reason, there was a distinct sadness in Shinku's eyes. You cannot fool me, game. I know this is all bullshit.
さあ、上がってくれ。
Well, to an extent.
狭いところで悪いが、適当に座って待っていてくれ。今から夕飯を作るから。
After a half day of classes, we were dismissed, and everyone went home. Since I had nowhere to go, Shinku invited me to come to her place. I swept my gaze over the apartment room. As she had said, it was a bit cramped. Everything from the walls to the floor to the ceiling looked quite old.
今日はここに泊まるといい。
She suddenly called out to me from the kitchen. Just for the night?
ああ、今日だけと言わずに、どこにも身を寄せる場所がないのなら、ずっと一緒に暮らしたっていいさ。
You said...
Huh?
You said we have to help each other out to survive, right?
そうだな。その通りだ。
She and I conversed through the sliding glass door that separated the living room from the kitchen. So, this is where you live?
そうだよ。今はね。
For now,
ここは昔に私が家族と一緒に暮らしていた部屋なんだ。
your family?
そう。お父さんとお母さんと双子の妹。私たちは4人家族だった。とある研究機関に属する科学者だったんだ。私たちの両親は。1階の研究者は研究資料などにばかり費用がかさんで、経済的に困窮しているような人たちばかりだ。私の両親もその例にあぶれずという具合だった。だけど、あの頃はそれでも十分に幸せだった。生活が十分ではなくても、その他の大切なものは全て十分すぎるくらいに揃っていた。そんな風に私は思うよ。この小さな部屋に身を寄せ合って暮らしていたあの頃が一番幸せで、世の中の誰しもと同じで、この世界が終わるだなんて想像もしてなかったんだ。私たちは。
The world would end?
あの忌々しい白い羽が終わらせるんだ。私たちの世界を。
What exactly did the end of the world entail? I'd heard that phrase being tossed around numerous times that day. The world as I know it is going to be no more. What was going to happen? I'd never heard of this before. I had no recollection of it. I felt an ominous, uncomfortable shivering running up from the tips of my toes. Fears began to grip me.
お待たせ。
Yuki then returned from the kitchen, carrying some plates.
ごめんな。あまり豪勢な料理を作ってやれなくて。
After apologizing, she placed the plates down on the table. I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at.
どうした？もしかして嫌いだったか？
Iku looked at me worryingly, but I shook my head. No, it's just
そうなのか？
I've just never seen this type of food before.
それ本気で言ってるのか？ホットケーキだよ。ホットケーキ。
And
ホットケーキだ。本当に知らないのか？珍しいな、それは。
cakes? Wouldn't the name imply that they were desserts? In that case, I found myself wondering why we were having them for an evening meal. Yeah, well, wait till he finds out the more bizarre fact in America that people eat this shit for breakfast. Quite frankly, the prospect didn't excite me much if at all. And something I wasn't much interested in was something that I more than likely wasn't going to be able to remember. If I didn't have an interest in something, it would be apt to say that it didn't matter to me one bit. Even as vague and lacking as my memories were, though I at least retained the common sense to know that cakes were dessert. True. But pancakes are breakfast. Yep. And humans did not eat sweets as a main course. That is also true. This was normal. Everyone knew that. Thinking more deeply about it, maybe I have heard of them, but either way, it's my first time seeing them.
そうか。見るのは初めてか。それもそれで珍しいな。
Yeah, I think I remember someone saying something about them once.
ホットケーキはもう飽きちゃったよ。
A wry smile crept up onto my face.
言ってた？誰が何をだ？
お姉ちゃんはいつもホットケーキばかりだから。
I closed my eyes. Never mind. I shook my head. I tried actively remembering, but quickly gave up.
とにかくさ、美味しいんだぞ、ホットケーキ。見た目は地味だけどバカにしちゃいけない。バターを塗っても、砂糖をつけても、蜂蜜を垂らしても美味しいし、なんていうかさ、無限大の楽しみ方があるっていうか、語り尽くせない夢があるというか。
Pancakes are the perfect food.
そうだな。まあ、私は何もつけずにそのまま食べるのが好きだけど。
Wait. Don't tell me this is the only dish you know how to make.
いや、そんなことはないけど。
She averted her gaze guiltily. Shinku?
お前はあれか。夕飯に焦げばかりが混入されたスクランブルエッグとかが食べたいのか。
You have eggs? That didn't sound appetizing at all. I don't think I would.
だろ？それなら黙ってこれを食べてればいいんだよ。ホットケーキこそ至高のレシピだ。
Yeah, but eggs are a lot easier. What? They are?
どんなブキッチョでもそれなりに美味しく焼けるのが素晴らしい。
You know you can still burn pancakes, right? So you're bad at cooking?
違う！苦手なんじゃない。ただ、 個性的なだけなんだ。
What difference does that make?
なんだよ。
She purses her lips.
平均とそればかりにこだわって個性を根こそぎ刈り取り、とりあえずデコボコにでも平らにしようと粘るわからずやかやお前は。
What does that even mean?
目玉焼きも出来上がるとなぜだかスクランブルエッグになるけど、でもホットケーキは上手に焼けるんだ。だからそれでいいじゃないかって話。
How do you turn a fried egg into a scrambled egg, but know the exact amount of time you need to flip a pancake so that it doesn't burn on the other side? What? It's not just the first side. I'm talking about when you flip it, right? Because the first side you got the bubbles, right? When they pop, that's when you know it's time to flip. But when you flip it, there's no bubbles. So how does she know that it's perfectly cooked on the other side, but doesn't know how to fry an egg? Okay. I cut off a large piece of the pancake, stabbed it with my fork, and put it in my mouth. It's good.
だろ
Her face instantly lit up.
まったく。ご飯を食べさせてもらえるだけ感謝してほしいもんだよ、お前は。
It's not like you wouldn't have already cooked. You would have made the same meal if he wasn't here. You have one serving of pancakes, and technically it'd be two because you got them stacked on top of each other, but still. She prodded my cheek with her finger, a gentle smile on her face. What?
気にするな。ほっぺに食べかすだ。かわいいやつだな。
We soon finished our pancake dinner.
どうだ？改めて聞くようだけど、美味しかったか？
I nodded and told her that they were.
お腹はいっぱいになったか？
I nodded again. Although I personally didn't feel like it was necessary for me to eat until my stomach felt full. Then again, I hadn't just filled my stomach. This day had left me feeling fulfilled in a different sort of way too. Thanks for dinner. It was good. I put my hands together and closed my eyes.
それじゃあ、食べてすぐで申し訳ないけど。
Huh?
少し話を聞かせてもらってもいいかな？
I looked at her and told her that would be fine. I peered into her eyes. There was a graveness in them as well as doubt. It seemed to me like she was hesitating over whether or not to go forward with this.
ユーマ？お前の名前はユーマなんだな。
Mm-hmm. My name is Yuma. Kanoe Yuma.
そうか。それが名前か。
Pinku.
ああ。
If his name wasn't Yuma, where's his voice then? What's the matter?
いや何？そのシンクって呼び捨てはどうにかできないのかなと思ってね。
Why's that?
だって私の方がずっとお姉さんなんだぞ。そこのところは分かってほしいなっていうか。
Pinku, I'm not... See, it doesn't work because I don't do honorifics. Except when it's iffy. Yeah.
バカにしてるのかお前は。
If the older person needs to use an honorific with someone who's younger than them, then that's more or less what they usually go with, no?
お前は何を 言ってるんだよ。
Whoever's lived the longest is the oldest, and whoever hasn't is the youngest.
ああ、わかったわかった。もういいよ、呼び捨てで。
He smiled in exasperation.
ともかく、お前はユーマだ。叶上ユーマ。それで、間違いないんだな。
I nodded without saying anything. Following that, I thought back to what had happened a few hours ago, prior. The moment that I spoke, what I thought was my name. After that, they all told me about my name.
あれから？
Apparently, there was someone really important to you who had that same name, Kanoe Yuma.
はあ、
Someone really important to me, Shinku echoed, staring off into space. It was as though she was trying to locate and bring back some old memory in the recesses of her mind that she had long since forgotten of.
確かに大切な人だった。私にとっても、あいつにとっても。
Her?
この世はもうすぐ終わるから。
Huh? I figured that, but, you know, how does this tie with the current timeline or whatever the fuck?
それを阻止するために、私は両親から引き継いだ研究を続けてきたけれど。
Their research?
羽だよ。空から降る羽。
Shinku proceeded to explain that she was looking into ways to save the world. This was the research that she'd inherited from her parents.
昨日、私の生徒が、大切な仲間が、一人最果てへと連れ去られた。それからずっと、あの忌々しい羽は降り続いている。今お前が、ユーマが使っている席は、昨日まで遠峰司という子が使っていたんだ。
Okay, there it is. And then Kyo was another one that was whisked away, right? And then the one in the girl in Shinku's flashback was another. He was the one taken away to this beyond place?
そう。この世の中には、どこか遠いところに神様の住む場所があって、そこに住む意地悪な神様が、私たちの命をいたずらに乱獲し始めて。
Shinku looked away before adding that this god used to only whisk away one life per year, and that was how it had always been. She formed a bitter scowl, admitting that it was her mistake not to tell me this earlier.
ともかく、そんな異常事態が始まったのは、もう随分昔のことだ。最初は大人たちからだった。最果てに連れ去られていってしまうのは。
Yeah, it's a miracle electricity and water still run.
この世界では、大人になると夢を叶えられなくちゃいけない。そんなルールがある。みんながみんな、自分が生まれた意味を忘れてしまわないようにと。
You didn't hear that.
だから、この世界の子供たちはみんな、早く大人になりたくてたまらないわけだけど。
At that point, she paused. And then?
ああ。さっきも言ったように、まず最初に意地悪な神様に目をつけられたのは、そんな大人たちからだった。大人になり、子供の頃からの夢を叶えた人たちだ。意地悪な神様は、子供たちにとっての羨望の対象である夢を叶えた大人たちの全員を一人残らず連れ去り終えると、今度は 取り残された子供たちを狙い始めた。まるでそれが正しい順番だと言わんばかりに。
I couldn't fathom what I was hearing. When had this continual atrocity first began? And what was the impetus that started it? I didn't remember ever allowing for something like that to take place. What?
最初に狙われた子供が加納上優馬と私の妹愛だった。
Alright, I forgot about Yuma, yeah. Actually, she muttered, correcting herself. Those two were taken before all of this anomalous harvesting began. I took key note of that last bit, she said. Huh? Anomalous?
二人はとても仲が良かった。いや、仲が良かっただなんていう表現では到底足りないな。
Damn, they must have been in love or something.
二人は将来結婚しようと約束するくらいの仲だったんだ。まあ、あれだ。私が見ている前でも平気で乳くり合うようなバカップルだったんだよ。
I was joking
あの
about
二人は
that.
さ。
I was joking. There almost seemed to be a slight peevishness in her tone. At the same time, though, her lips were curled into a smile as she spoke of them. So he was... He was someone important to you, and the person your sister was going to marry?
ああ、そうだな。大切だった。大切だったよ。
She closed her eyes, as if yearning for the far-off day when she might see his face again.
私たち三人は子供の頃からいつも一緒な幼馴染だった。次第にユーマと愛は好き合って付き合い始めて、そんな二人を私は応援してた。二人はとてもお似合いだと思った。ユーマはきっと夢見がちな妹を幸せにしてくれるだろうと信じていたから。
That's why he was important to you?
そういうこと。大切な理由はそれ以上でも以下でもないんだ。だけど、それで十分すぎるって私は思うよ。あいつのことを大切に思う私の気持ちが正国を得るにはさ。
Really? For some reason, I didn't quite believe her. Was that truly the extent of her feelings for him?
ともかく、そのようにしてこの国の人間たちの願いと夢を叶えるための大人たちが一人残らずいなくなってしまったのがこの世界だ。願いも夢も未完成な子供たちばかりが残された未完の世界。そういう具合に大人たちに取り残されてしまった子供たちも今ではもう世界中にお前を入れて6人しか残っちゃいないんだけどな。
Only 6?
そう、6人だ。
Only 6. Ana, Mio, Ayumu, Shinku, and I. Yeah, that's 5. That only added up to 5. Which means that there was still someone who I had yet to meet. Someone whom I knew absolutely nothing about. Okay, who would it be? Suzu? She would be an anomaly. Kyo? Probably. Yeah, that's about it. Especially since she says kids, Shigure would be out of the picture. Shinku giggled, saying that she was a witch. Apparently, That was what the kids in the town used to call her. A witch. More like a bitch. Sorry. Old habit. Somehow, I felt as though I knew all of this already.
夢を語ろう。
Huh?
夢、私の夢だ。この国は終わってしまった。だから、その機能を果たせなくなって久しい。誰もが夢や願いを忘れてしまった。その叶え方も忘れてしまった。だから私は、私の生徒の願いを、あの子たちの夢を、この世界の代わりに叶えてやりたいなって、そう思うんだ。
You want to make their dreams come true? You know who else it could be? It could be Toru. Yeah. Even though, you know, what relevance would she have? I had to wonder what exactly their wishes were. Kana, Mio, and Ayumu. What did the three of them wish for? I wanted to ask Shinku, but didn't get the chance to.
そろそろ寝ようか。もう遅い。夜更かしは健全な思考力の大敵だ。寝るときは寝る。それが一番なんだ。何も考えずにね。
Huh?
話の続きは、また明日な。
Tomorrow.
そう。また明日だ。ユーマの、お前じゃない方のユーマの話も、また明日にもう少しだけ詳しく話すよ。
Okay. I've been trying to think about it, right? But I can't wrap my head around it that much, right? Because here's the thing. This Yuma and the one she's talking about are probably the same person, right? But this Yuma's lost his memories and something happened and he's able to come back or whatever. What I think is, well, first of all, we still don't have enough information. Second of all, there is only one Yuma that exists, right? Because, well, here's the thing, right? In Ototsugahama, Yuma didn't exist, even though it is the exact same world as Kazatsugahama, except for, well, the supernatural shit with Shinku and Toru's power or whatever, and Yuma. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, you know, let's let them cook more. She and I lay down next to each other and on the bed. There's no point in me trying to disassemble the story, disassemble what they're cooking when they haven't even finished cooking the dish. Whatever, the analogy works. It was a single-sized bed, but it still provided plenty of space for us to each sleep comfortably. Our bodies were still very small, so very small.
おやすみ、ユーマ。いい夢を。
I closed my eyes. Almost immediately, I sunk into the land of dreams. After all, sleeping whenever and for however long was the one thing that I knew how to do. The following day, I came to school by myself. Shinku was still asleep when I woke up. Well, to be more accurate, she went back to sleep. Apparently her circulation wasn't good, so she had a great deal of trouble getting up in the mornings. The two of us had breakfast, but right after she flopped back down on the bed and was fast asleep in no time. She told me to head to school first, and that she'd be there later. Needless to say, our meal for breakfast was pancakes. I had mine with butter. Riku had hers plain. And together we ate. I thought back to our breakfast table conversation. What kind of dreams did you have? I didn't have any. Oh, that's unfortunate. Damn, it's crazy. Who's talking in this situation? I'll never tell. I'm speaking in the same voice for both of them. What about you, Shinku? What did you dream of? Well, that's a secret. It's too embarrassing to say. Apparently, this country is one where dreams come true. Yeah, and then you die after. However, I don't dream. And she's no longer able to dream for the future. Still though, she told me of her dream. A dream that she could never work to achieve. One that she simply held in her heart. I was finished eating before I realized it was good. It was, but even though I was confident that I wouldn't grow sick of such an unbalanced diet, I didn't know if I could continue eating pancakes for every meal day after day.
本当に仕方のないお姉ちゃんなんだよ。だから誰かがそばについていてあげなくちゃいけないの。
See, right, here's why I'm thinking that the both Yumas are the same Yuma, because he's getting flashbacks of I. Because, well, this person is talking about her sister, and the only character in the game that we know has a sister is Shinku. Right? Because Kana, Mio, and Tsukasa are only children, and Kyo has a brother. So the only other relevant person, right, because we're only including characters that would have had routes, is Shinku. So this is I. Which means that this is the same Yuma that disappeared. Right? Unless it's a different kind of Yuma, but the... whatever, yeah. Ah. That's right. I never quite agreed with what you said, but I understood why you said it.
もしもーし。大丈夫ですか？
Something was waving in front of my vision. I soon learned that it was Kana's tiny hand.
生きてます？
No, I'm alive. Should be, at least.
ああ、そうですか。ならよかったです。
What?
いや、何ってどういうことですか？
I was wondering what you wanted.
いえいえ、なんだかぼーっとしてましたから。大丈夫ですか？
I nodded.
そうですか。それなら安心です。元気なのが一番ですもんね。
What are you two doing?
見てわからない？
No, not really.
お祝いですよ、お祝い。その準備です。
A celebration.
はい、そうなんですよ。
She beamed.
楽しいですよ。とてもとっても。だから、ユムさんも一緒に準備をしましょうよ。 その人をユーマって呼ぶのは。別にいいじゃないですか。どうせ同盟と思えば別に違和感なんてありませんよ。それは、そうかもしれないけど。ごめんね。別にあなたを責めていたりするわけじゃないんだけど。まあまあ、ともかくあれですよ。みんなで一緒に頑張りましょう。
Together.
はい。それもこれも先生を喜ばせるためです。
To make her happy?
そうです。実はちょうど1週間後の今日がシンク先生のお誕生日なのでした。だからその準備をしてるの。
Oh. Anna pursed her lips. There was a look of dissatisfaction on her face. What?
なんだかそっけないというか、どうでもいいというような反応ですね。
Oh. Did it?
そうですよ。それはまあ、ユーマさんは昨日初めて先生に会ったわけですから仕方ないのかもしれませんが。
Well, he only thinks he met Shinku yesterday, but in reality, he was the first to disappear. Whatever. He'll start remembering eventually or whatever. No, I do care.
ともかくお誕生日です。お祝いするんです。
With more pancakes, but without the pan. Okay, guess I'll play along.
そうよ。とにかく何が何でも実行するの。
Got it. What do you want me to do?
そうですね。ユーマさんはこの折り紙を切って輪っかを作っていってくれませんか？
Sure. Kana passed me a book telling me how to make paper decorations. Looking at the page detailing how to make paper chains, I carefully followed the instructions step by step.
すごい器用なんですね、ユーマさんは。
Kana watched in awe as I completed a beautiful chain in short time. It's not that hard, really. All I did was follow the instructions. Oh, that reminds me. I continued working with my hands as I spoke to her. What are your wishes?
私たちの願い？
I nodded, but they only looked at me confusedly. Shinku, your teacher, told me that you each had a wish you wanted to come true.
先生か？
Yeah?
私たちの願いを叶えてくれる？
Well, that's what she said at least. They shared a glance. Kana then mumbled, "My wish is..."
私はお母さんともう一度暮らしたいです。今ではもう絶対に叶わない願いだって分かってますけど、でもそれが私の願いです。私はお父さんとお母さんに会いたい。それだけでいい。天国でも地獄でもどんな場所でもいいからもう一度だけ会いたいの。
Oh. Our conversation came to an abrupt end. After that, we continued to work in silence. We don't worry about Ayumu's wish. We don't care about his. I wondered if perhaps my question had touched upon a subject that neither of them wanted to talk about. It was just as I was beginning to feel that faint awkwardness in the air that Kana spoke up.
これは秘密のパーティーなんです。
Huh?
だから先生にバレないように頑張らなくちゃいけませんね。
She beamed as she told me this.
そうね。バレないようにするにはこうして朝の時間と放課後に少しずつ進めるしかないから。間に合うかな。ちょっと不安。
Well, here's what's gonna happen. It's gonna get to Shinku's birthday, and then on her birthday, someone or Shinku is going to disappear. That's my prediction. Her smile, on the other hand, was more modest because, you know, we can't have happy things happen, right? Especially in the longer stories.
大丈夫ですよ。私たちみんなで頑張ればきっとできます。今はユマさんも増えましたし。
Oh, can I ask something else?
はい。
I think someone's missing.
一ノ瀬くん？
Did no one else notice? Yeah. I was pretty sure that was his name.
確かにおかしいですね。あゆむさんはいつも誰よりも早く教室にやってくるのに。
Well, I guess someone's already disappeared.
一ノ瀬くんも心配だけど、でもそろそろ朝の作業の時間限界。そうですね。片付けましょうか。もうすぐ先生が来ちゃいますね。
We're putting it all away?
はい。輪っかを作ってほしいと言っておいて申し訳ないですが、お片付け手伝っていただけますか？
I respond with a nod. With that, we begin to put away the decorations we had made.
みんな、ごめん。
As soon as Shinku walked through the door, she bowed and apologized.
また、間に合わなかった。
先生？
歩夢が、一ノ瀬歩夢が。
What Shinku said next was, to us, the worst possible news we could have heard. Okay, maybe I was a little off in my prediction, but I'll revise it then.
とまあ、ここで一旦小休止。缶は休題としようか。
Everyone disappears before Shinku's birthday. And Shinku's the only one. Fuck, that would be devastating. But at this point, it wouldn't be surprising, alright? Suzu shuts the book in her hands.
喉乾いたな。ゆうくんは何か飲む？
I shake my head to tell her no.
わかった。すぐ戻ってくるから、続きはそれからだね。いい？
I nod. Saying, sure. She then disappears, heading for the kitchen. I'm now left all alone to sort through my thoughts. That's probably a good idea. I'm powerless to fight off the overwhelming currents of this whirlpool of emotions I'm feeling. What does this all mean? I have no idea what she's trying to tell me. Essentially, the book that Suzu was reading to me, it details an episode where I supposedly first met the girl who disappeared. Maybe she just made it all up.
そんなわけないって。どうしてそんなことを私がしなくちゃいけないんだよ。そんなのはまるで意味がないことだ。そうだろ?
Suzu promptly returns, taking up her seat on the windowsill. Once more, she brings the cup of barley tea to her lips and chugs it quickly in a matter of seconds. You promise you're not making this up? It's really not some hallucination or fantasy of yours.
ああ、それこそが本物だ。偽物だとか作り物だとか、そういったものは一切含まれちゃいない。
But something has to be fake. And if that isn't fake, then... Okay. Okay, here's the thing, right? Everything has been written in the diary, right? Everything up to the 1st July 19th at the end of the common route. Everything after that was not written in the diary. Which means... I don't want to know what it means. What I'm implying is that what we saw in the routes didn't happen, right? And I say that as not just like the times we see the hate scenes, right? I speculated during the live stream that after the flashback, like the flash of light that we get when we absorb the memories, right? That's all of that part doesn't actually happen. Right? That's what I thought at the first place, right? And of course, because Suzu told me, well, yeah, us, the viewer and Yuma, that, you know, he did save all of everyone, right? Tsukasa, Mio, not in that order. Kana, Mio, Kyo, Tsukasa, right? And yeah, let's just keep going, alright? If you say so.
ともかくさ、続きを聞くかい?
Not really. Alright. I nod. I want to know what happens. I want to figure out what happens to that girl who disappeared from my memories. Nikaido shit.
ストップ。そこまでだ。まだあの子の名前を呼ぶ時じゃない。すべてはこの本のお話を全部聞いてからでも遅くはない。
Yeah, you're lucky he started with Nikaido, because you wouldn't have been able to stop him fast enough if he started with Shinku. I mean...
それじゃあ続きを読もうか。もう少しだけ。
Maybe... Everything... We're only given questions. We haven't gotten any answers to anything, right? We've only gotten more questions. You're gonna keep reading?
うん。もう少しだけ、私のわがままに付き合ってほしいんだ。
Emotionally draining would be an understatement when describing this route. This is what it's like currently. What the fuck is going to happen later? Right? I'll start from the conclusion. Ayumu. Ichinose Ayumu was gone. He'd been whisked away. across the sea to the land of the beyond by the ill-tempered, malicious god. Whatever he was, that was the reason for his tardiness that day. Well, in truth, he wasn't late. He never even arrived in the first place. The feathers, those white pieces fall from the sky. They were the feathers of God which carried a Yumu along the wind and whisked him off to the realm of the beyond. Their blinding whiteness announced to us his passing. I gazed intently at the white feathers as they continued to pile. Alright, you know what? Crackpot theory right here. Everyone disappears except Yuma and Shinku, right? And then Shinku dies or something, right? Look, it's crackpot theory. And then after Shinku dies, Yuma gets everything, right? And some reason, right, or another, everyone comes back, right? But with altered memories of what happened, right? Because currently that would explain why Yuma at the start of the game, chronologically, essentially, right? Up to where we are at the moment, why Yuma was in that dorm since he was a kid, right? Because, like, you know, where are his parents? Why is he living by himself? How has he been able to live by himself, right? So on and so forth. But if what happens, right? Everyone disappears, and then Yuma forgets everything, right? I guess Shinku might also disappear on her birthday, right? And then after that, he forgets everything, right? And then everything supposedly comes back to normal, except that Shinku becomes a ghost or whatever, and then blah blah blah. We lead to the events of today, right? Because this is supposedly meant to be at the start of the diary, right? And if this is the start of the diary, then it would make more sense, right? That the world essentially gets reset, right? Whatever. Fucking don't let me cook. I gazed intently at the white feathers as they continued to pile. I don't know if I read that, but sure. Then I recalled.
歩夢がさらわれた。消えたんだ。
As soon as Shinku entered the classroom, she presented the news to us as matter-of-factly as possible. Everyone cried. It was too soon. Only yesterday, Tsukasa had disappeared, and the week before, Kyo. I fucking knew it. Shinku's expression had been stiff and despondent from the moment she entered the room to the moment she left. That was it. Nothing could be done about it. Needless to say, no one was in the mood to continue preparing for Shinku's birthday party that day.
いまいましい。
The comment muttered by Shinku under her breath didn't slip by me.
どうしてこんなにも。私は。
Nor the piercing emotion in her voice, or her anguished expression. I wish I had an answer for her. Every single griefful mannerism of hers right now. It felt like the accumulation of 1,000 pins stabbing into my heart. I'll make dinner tonight. I wanted to help in any way I could. So that evening, I decided I would make Shinku's favorite, pancakes. If I can at least cheer her up a little bit, then that would make me feel better as well. I'd finished making the pancakes by the time Shinku came home. Yeah, I made them. I just copied what I saw you do yesterday. Well, with the help of one of the cookbooks you hear too.
すごいな。綺麗に焼けてる。個性的な形になったりするでもなくて。
I hope they're alright.
どうって？
Taste-wise, I hope they taste alright. I thought that they came out pretty well for whatever my opinion's worth. Although I hadn't tasted them yet, of course. I don't know much about the subtleties of flavor, so I'm a little nervous. Well, I don't know about subtlety when Shinku eats her fucking pancakes plain, so, you know, cardboard is the default flavor.
食べてもいいのかな？
I nodded.
それじゃあ、いただきます。
She clapped her hands together before cutting off a small piece of the pancake in front of her and putting it into her mouth. He looked less than pleased. Does it taste bad? Anxiety began to bubble inside me.
いや、そうじゃなくて。
Then what?
私が作るよりも断然美味しいっていうのは、一体全体、どういう了見なんだって思ったんだ。
I think that just goes to show how bad of a cook you are, Shinku, alright? If Yuma, who has never cooked before in his entire life, could make pancakes better than you, who has been cooking pancakes since God knows how long, like, I think you just, you know, literally shouldn't cook. I wouldn't know. A wave of relief came over me. I let out an awkward chuckle. So they weren't bad. Not at all. That was good.
はあ、なるほど、そうか。そういうことか。
What?
ユーマは私の得意料理を得意な範疇から追い出そうって腹積もりなんだな。
I don't really think you should call it a signature dish when it's really your only dish. Like, you couldn't even cook something as simple as an egg, so, you know, you're not taking this very well. I don't even know how you're arriving at these conclusions in the first place. They make no sense.
そんなはずはない。いや違う。こんなはずはないんだ。
She then began to grumble under her breath.
この料理だけは誰にも負けないつもりで、いや、負けてはいけないってずっとそう思ってたのに。
You know, Shinku, as I was making these, I was thinking...
何を？
I just really don't think making pancakes qualifies as cooking. Well, they are. It's cooking. Even if you use batter, right, you're still cooking a pancake.
何が言いたいんだ？
He glared at me menacingly. They're just a snack. You can't call these a proper meal. Okay, well that's different from cooking, right? You can cook a pancake and still consider it a snack. It's still cooking, alright? There are hardly any ingredients, the preparation is easy, and they're ready in minutes. Personally, it's all just way too simple for me to see as legitimate cooking. Okay, well by that metric, you wouldn't consider rice a meal, or better yet, pasta. Right, rice is one ingredient. Right, pasta's 2, 3 if you add salt, of course. But apparently those 2 wouldn't be considered meals. They're just, you know, I mean, no, not meals. They wouldn't be considered cooking, right? Because they're side dishes. Except that, you know, pasta is a main dish in every country.
なんだよ、お前は料理に規制をつける気なのか？差別も区別も私は嫌いだ。どちらも独善的に過ぎるから。
They're just pancakes. Despite her constant griping and complaining, he didn't stop eating. After a few seconds, she paused to get up and go to the kitchen, pour herself some coffee. Straight black coffee with no sweetening whatsoever. She offered me a drink, but one sip of it, and I immediately grimaced. I mean, she eats her pancakes plain, so... You like coffee too, huh? I don't know how you drink this stuff. It's so bitter.
苦いのと甘いのを交互に食べるのが好きなんだよ、私は。コーヒーの苦さで、ホットケーキの素朴な甘さがぐっと増すんだ。それがとても美味しいんだよ。
Really?
ああ。それに私の仕事の研究は睡魔との戦いでもあるから、カフェインは必須なんだよ。コーヒーは気づいたら一日中飲んでるんじゃないかって思うよ。
Oops.
ああ。それに私の仕事の研究は睡魔との戦いでもあるからカフェインは必須なんだよ。コーヒーは気づいたら一日中飲んでるんじゃないかって思うよ。
Your research?
ああ、そうだよ。一日でインスタントのコーヒー5缶を消費したのがこれまでの一番の記録かな。
Where do you get these tins of coffee? No one's making them, so they're gonna be somewhere, and, well, it is instant coffee, so I guess it wouldn't expire as quickly. I don't know. 5 tins? How many cups was that?
そうだな。正確には覚えてないし、私は一杯をものすごく濃く入れるからな。缶に表記されてる使用量とかは当てにできないし。
I think that's because you've created a dependency, and because your body has gotten used to the recommended amount on the tin, you had to double it, and then double it again after you also got used to the doubled amount.
多分30から50杯ってところなんじゃないのかな。
That sounds like way too much coffee. See, she's already on her ways to becoming a ghost.
だよな。私もちょっと自分が中毒者気味だよな。気をつけなくちゃいけないなって、そう思うこともあるよ。
I don't think you're getting, I think you're already. She then finished up the last remaining bites of her pancake stack. Seeing that made me so happy. I'd cooked something especially for her, and she'd enjoyed it so much that she ate every last bite. Still, I had to say, there was no way that eating pancakes for every meal of the day was good for her health. Yeah, you're right. And the coffee does not help.
お姉ちゃんはいつもホットケーキばかりなんだから。だから、私がお姉ちゃんのそばにいて。
So I can cook her all sorts of healthy, delicious meals.
何がだ？
Nothing, I said, shaking my head. Do you want any more?
食べる。
He beamed.
こんな美味しいものを食べ残しちゃうわけがないだろう。
He proceeds to make quick work of the remaining pile.
ごちそうさま。
You're welcome.
ありがとう。美味しかったよ。
I do not like when they cut the music because it just sounds, it makes it more ominous.
よし。それじゃあユーマ。昨日の話の続きをしようか。
Her countenance that morning had been the very picture of despair. A stony expression was stuck on her face after being forced to accept the cold, hard reality that she was powerless to save Ichinose Ayumu. However, her mood seemed to have lifted a bit in the time since. He let out a little giggle.
今日は、そうだな。外を散歩しながらお話ししようか。
We're going outside.
ああ。夕涼みみたいなものだよ。
Tinku led me by the hand, taking me out into the nighttime air for a bit of a change of pace.